Well, Daniel, we're back. Botched Wrestling Podcast, Season 2, Episode 2. Is that what we're going with, I think? Correct. Season 2,
That is what we're
Episode 2.
going with.
Um,
Last week, our season premiere.
yep, yep. Our season premiere, it will be up this weekend. Um, Obviously, somebody felt the urge to report something to YouTube, so I'm having that investigated, and I was told today that it looks like it will be cleared, so thank you.
Again?
Yeah, Dan, it's Dan. Dan, when you got it, you got it. You know what I mean? Like when you walk around with this, with watches galore here. You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. We're successful at everything that we touch. I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to at this point. Um, so yeah, I mean, what would you? I have a few things that I would like to talk about. I didn't know if you had anything to bring up with AEW. I figure we could, if there's anything we could discuss with AEW. I know, you're a big fan. Some say the biggest one in Buffalo, but
I think Danny Garcia is the biggest one in Buffalo.
you can't. If he hasn't been back in 27 years, we gotta stop calling him a Buffalo kid. Okay, like what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways,
I mean, does I don't know. Does it really? It's where he was born.
sure. Anyways, they're in Buffalo on my son's birthday.
Yeah.
So
Are we taking him? His first wrestling show?
she,
Happy birthday.
yeah, if you can find me a reasonably priced divorce attorney the next day.
I just happen to know a mediocre one. I'm
He
sure
can't. Dan, he focuses in real estate. I'm not trying to get screwed. I just
he'll be fine.
sign some papers, stamp here. But anyways, yeah. I mean, was there? I mean, Swerve's been kind of doing well with his promos and stuff. I guess the big thing to talk about is: do we think Ricochet's head in there, or do we think Ricochet's doing the indie scene? I
Um,
I personally think he can make a boatload on the indie scene. Because if you already have Cardona as the GM of GCW and you send him there, how do you not put him in the title match within 2 weeks on GCW? You know what I mean?
yeah, I think I think he probably does independent scene for a while, kind of charts his own course and schedule for a little bit. Why wouldn't you? I mean, AEW will always be there, right? Like,
Oh,
well, you know what I mean.
fingers crossed.
You
Who
know what I
killed
mean. Like,
WCW?
I mean, that took a lot of years. So,
No,
but
I know. I just.
so like that option will likely be available for quite some time. And while they do present the opportunity to do a little bit of both, like I think Cardona really has mapped the path for doing that properly and doing it super successfully, right? Like,
Yeah.
where he can probably command a pretty decent appearance fee. He can put on a great show and really, I mean, look, when Cardona came to a local promotion to us, we were at a show. They announced Cardona was at a show, and what did we do? We immediately went in line and got 4 front row tickets for that show.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were at the same show again and they said Ricochet or whatever his
Ah,
name will be,
I'm
we're
there.
gonna buy those
I'm there.
tickets. Yeah, so that's gonna happen all over, and so he can that, and then he can make his own schedule, right? Like that was Cardona's thing. Like Cardona was out on the road a lot for a while, but that's because he wanted to be. But when he needed to book a week off or a few weeks off or only take a couple of appearances here and there, he did, right? Like, and if Ricochet was smart with his money and all that, then it won't be an issue.
So, when Cardona did it, I know would keep going back to that just because he's what the most successful guy from WWE to take over the indie scene, you would say, in the last 10, 15 years?
I mean, I think you could argue potentially
All
ever.
time? Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
just
I
throwing
mean,
it out there from anybody that's been fired. I honestly think
I think Cody did a version of it, and I think Cardona
but yes.
took that version and made it better and bigger and grander. And like, I don't know. He created a new blueprint on how to take your name recognition and blow it up, and your character and blow it up. And Cody used it as stepping stones to a bigger purpose. Cardona's using it to just make the living he wants to make, and loving every second of it. So I think Cardona did it better than Cody, but I think Cody did it pretty well, given that he was leaving, right, to quote unquote bet on himself. And he also joined a few larger promotions for a while, so he,
Yeah.
whatever. But Cardona, technically, I mean, he didn't do. I don't think he's done New Japan that I can think of, but he
Uh
did a TNA run for a while. Cody did the same thing. He did a. I mean, he appeared in AEW a couple of times, but nothing concrete there. He went into MLW for a little bit, like, and NWA or whatever, right? So, and GCW has grown, so to a degree, and he helped with that. So I don't know. I think you could argue ever, as far as like success coming out of a major promotion and then turning it into even more success on the independent scene.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, how
I
many belts was he carrying at one time? Like 13 or something, from 13 different independent promotions?
14 if you count the one that he had made for himself, the Indie God one, with like the skull on it.
I wasn't going to count that one, but I mean,
Well, he did because that's what pissed off all the dirt sheets. That's why he counted it.
well, and that was part of his character, right, at the
Yeah,
time, right?
he was
Like,
just
which was genius.
yeah,
You,
he
you
was
know,
the bad guy on the indie scene, right? Like he
right.
treated himself. I'm the hired gun. I'm the best you ever had in this promotion. You're gonna pay me what I'm gonna pay me, or I'm not gonna work here. And even on the wrestling figure podcast with Brian Byers, he said, I don't go to any promotion for less than da da da. And you can shoot me an email for all the contract details. He was very upfront about it. He was just asked, funny you brought it up, he was just asked on June 5th, um, any country promotion still on the list that you want to tick off that you haven't yet? And he responded, New Japan. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
right.
I
Well,
hope he
that was
doesn't
that. I
because
didn't
I
think he
think
had
that
something.
kills. I hope he doesn't because I think that kills his indie run. Because I feel like when Cody did that, Cody got so consumed about his alliance with the Bucks and the Bullet Club and all that, we kind of didn't get to see like indie Cody take off like it was just
Yeah.
about to, right? Like, so
Right.
yeah, I mean it's interesting. I don't know. I think it's a big misstep for WWE that he's never had the world title. I mean, if you've given Kofi an opportunity with the world title and people were okay with it, I think Ricochet could have had it for a weekend somewhere and then dropped it at Madison Square Garden on like a Raw on Monday or something. I know he's had some titles, but I feel like he just never truly got a big push for the big belt, and we kind of, based on all the stuff that's come over or come out in the last year or so, we kind of know why based on who was in charge. Unfortunately, um, but I don't think Triple H like ever like did not understand his value. I think they used him well. I just think I would have given everything to see a big push for the just for him just to be in contention, right? Like just to have the opportunity for like a one-on-one. Like him and Roman, speed versus power, like all the things he probably could have pulled off with him. Um when he had the
Yeah, I
tag
think
team run with Braun. That's pretty cool. Because Braun would just pick him up and throw him everywhere like he was like a human weapon. That was cool. Yeah, it's interesting because I think he's very, very good, right?
I do agree. I think he is, and also I think one of the other things that is never going to be out of the question is going to be the comeback might be greater than anything
Oh,
he could
yes,
have.
100%. Yes, yes, yes.
So just like it was for Cody, and just like it would be for Cardona, if Cardona ever gets back there, like the pop and the run could be amazing, especially if it's timed right.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
No, agreed.
you
It's all
know,
about timing with professional wrestling, right? We've seen somebody go over to AEW for the big Boston show, and then all of a 2 weeks later, it's like a church. There's nobody there cheering. You know what I'm saying, bruv? Um, but I know that Osprey has been put in. Or did you see the clip that Osprey posted on his Instagram?
no.
He's standing outside somewhere, and it's a Ricochet video, or it's on the front of some building on a pillar. It says Ricochet up the side of the pillar, but it's spelled differently, and he's just standing there staring at it. And of course, all of the
Um, yeah,
all
I
of
see it now.
the sweaties that are commenting on it underwear that are because they don't ever take showers. We're saying, "Oh, he's coming here. He's coming here. He's coming," and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like, do you think Ricochet helps them? I think it. I think it makes it even harder.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it hurts. I don't
I,
see
I
him.
don't think it.
If anything, I could see him doing like hey, let's just do a quick program deal, and I'm gonna do a
Yeah,
program with
pay for
somebody, and that's
appearance.
well, or that, or we'll see how it goes. Like, hey, why don't I come in and do a series of 5 matches or whatever? We'll do a quick story. We'll see how it goes. But
Correction there.
they could do that. The surprise would be better than the like I don't know what his hometown is, but like if they do this thing where like they go to his hometown and they tiptoe around what's really going on and they say they use some synonym for Ricochet.
He's from Illinois.
As okay, so if they go where in Illinois does it say?
Alton.
I don't know where that is, but um I was wondering if it was like near Chicago, but
Be
uh
hysterical.
it's not.
No.
Actually, it's near St. Louis. It's actually
Yeah.
really close to St. Louis. So if they went to St. Louis and something like that, like I don't want to do this like, oh, a former champion,
Like
in
they
a
did for the
major
Boston show.
promotion. Right, and then they tell you like, "Oh, we're going to St. Louis and um, it's going to be our rebound show or something like that, to play off of Ricochet, like, or I don't know, I actually don't know like what like name he's gone by before, um, previously.
Correction on what you just said, Private. You said he could go there and do a quick story. Then we know AEW don't do storylines. Um, let's just clarify that for all the viewers.
Oh, Prince Puma. That's
Yeah,
what
he
that's
was
what he is.
awesome in that
Oh,
lucha.
that's interesting. He was known as King Ricochet a long time ago, but
Yeah,
I'm
you
sure
don't
WWE owns it now.
remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Jesus.
Oh,
Uh,
just
yeah,
being
he's
honest.
been known as Cameron Lock, Trevor Man, King Ricochet, Helio Speedin, Black Bullet. That's okay. Prince Puma and Ricochet. I would love
My
to see
guess
him
would
bring the
be
Prince
my guess would be he
Puma
would
thing
go
back.
back to Prince Puma because I am sure WWE probably owns the Ricochet stuff now. So
Prince Puma would be sweet to see back, right?
yeah, yeah. So so if they do something like that, like I don't want to see that. Like let it be a surprise, and go from there. But um,
I just don't think it helps. I think he'll. I think he'll have a bigger pop than Mercedes did, but I just don't think it helps. I don't think it helps him, or I don't think it helps AEW right away. I think if he goes the Cardona route a bit and builds his name, not that he has to build his name, but you know what I mean. Like if he touches ground with multiple indies, he gets hot. He, you know, wrestles the best that's out there on the indies. I think that adds more value to him eventually going to AEW than him just jumping the ship now just because they have a lighter schedule.
yeah,
Like I just that's
I,
that.
yeah. I
I
don't know.
mean,
I
does Osprey versus Ricochet do anything for you?
for me, yeah, I wouldn't want to see it at least once. I mean, I know there's videos out there, but I mean, Osprey can put on a really good match, and with a guy like Ricochet, he really could put on a really good match. I mean, we've seen what he's put on. I always talk about his match with Orange Cassidy, like
Yeah.
but him versus Jericho doesn't give me the same feeling. But him versus Ricochet, yeah, I'd want to see it once or twice. Like I think it could be good. It could be a fun little program. It'll get me to watch that match at least. It might not get me to watch anything else.
So if
Um,
cagematch.net is correct, Ricochet versus Osprey has if this is correct, 1, hang on, let me put this in order. They've wrestled 100 times. Yeah, I mean it's fine.
that's interesting.
Or
I
no,
mean
hold
that
on.
that
There's multiple pages.
that's funny. I mean, I don't know if they were.
They were traveling a lot of the same circles. That's what it was.
So that's fine. I mean, I think a like good majority of mainstream wrestling fans have probably, unless they went and searched it out, they've probably never seen those matches. You know.
Yeah, no, it's
So
fine. I just my only critique of that is like a lot of the flip stuff that like Osprey and Ricochet did to like counter each other. Oh no, Dan, did we lose you? Back to green screen, Dan. Good, because we can't afford it, so we might as well take advantage of it when we can.
I'm here.
There we go. Um, yeah, it's fine. Like, okay.
What?
No, I'm just counting this right here. Yeah, I mean it's okay. Like, how do I put this? If you watch the clips from like their past matches between Osprey and Ricochet, a lot of their counters are like flips off each other, right? Flips off the rope, running full speed, you know, stall the Tiger Driver, flip out, whatever. I that shows Ricochet's athleticism, but I don't think that shows him as the wrestler and how good he is wrestling, if that makes sense. I feel like the last couple of things that we got of him actually wrestling in WWE have been um
They've only wrestled 14 times. Now that I'm reading through what you sent me.
yeah, there's over 100 comments on it or something, I think, or ratings.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100 ratings.
Yeah.
But so they've wrestled
Yeah.
14 times in
WCPN,
11
Doja.
years.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine. No, but I'm just saying it's some of the still both watch stuff out there. If you look at the comments and when everything's been downloaded. It's over a ton of times, but it's yeah, I don't know if it does anything for me. Because I kind of want to see him collect belts. Now that I know the Cardona route's out there, I kind of want to see if, like, he could do that. I mean, maybe that's just, like... Obviously, I'm not saying everybody can pull that off. But
Yeah, I don't know. I
but
don't
if
know
he
for
shows
sure.
up as
He'd have to
Prince
change his
Puma,
character.
Prince Puma could do it. Did you ever watch him in Lucha uh, Underground?
Not really.
Well, Dan, when you lost there, you actually died.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm just telling you. So
Yeah, I understand. I understand that part of it. I'm just,
they wrestled for keeps there. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
best
Did,
of
did
luck,
he ever lose?
huh?
Did he ever lose?
Well, he was just in the WWE. So what do you think? Nope.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure it doesn't carry over to other promotions.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Third wall Dan. Anyways, hi Cocabana.
Fourth, it's fourth wall.
Yeah. Hi Cocabana.
You jerk.
Anyways, yeah. Yeah. No, I just don't want him to go there and get stuck in the pile. That's all. Because I think he'll just get lost, and he's too great of a talent to get lost. I mean, I wouldn't mind if he went and hit the indie scenes for 6 months to a year, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he wins the NXT title. That'd be sweet. Like they bring him back in some. Is it pay per view for WWE or is it PLE? PLE?
Premium live event.
Oh, that's right. Okay, because
Not just a live event.
yeah, no,
premium
that's
live.
fine. That's fine. I just remember that WWE has actual storylines. That's probably why they do it that way. So going on.
I mean, other than the fact that for the most part they're not pay-per-views anymore. It's just not really available that way.
Well, if you listen to Swerve, that they are, Dan.
Well, for AEW, that's true.
Yeah, well, that's
For
what happens when
WWE,
you're poor.
Not true.
It's fine. Like my grandfather said, the world needs ditch diggers too. So best of luck to Ricochet, King Ricochet, Prince Puma. Can you just please let us keep your wife? She's the best ring announcer that there is. And who do they have over at AEW? Justin Roberts, right? Is it Justin?
They have somebody else too, because it's not Justin all the time.
Yeah, well, just keep Justin. I mean, he fits your guys' clientele perfectly.
I like Justin Roberts.
Yeah, me
fine.
too. Yeah, me too. Anyways,
God, you're such a jerk today.
best of luck to Ricochet. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I could go on and on about it because I've as you know since we started talking wrestling, I've always been a big fan of his, and I've always wanted him to get a push. He got a push to what, the IC title when Gunther had it, correct? Because he won the tournament, so he won that. He never beat Gunther, right? He just took a beating every time he faced him.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's kind of tough, and I get it. He probably feels like he had a better, I don't know if it's work-life balance or better situation when he was on Lucha Underground, because he was the guy there. Like, everybody showed up to those shows for Prince Puma. So, hopefully he can do it again on the indie scene or wherever he shows up again. Transition from that, Dan, you want to talk about a little bit about some NXT Battleground?
Yeah.
Because we had that PLE.
Yeah. Yeah,
So did you watch this from start to finish?
I did.
Is this the first ever one for NXT that you've watched?
Not the first ever one, but
Did you watch? Yeah.
They've been few and far between. So I'm gonna watch on Tuesday for sure. This coming Tuesday.
Oh, why? What's happening? Is it
Counter
counter programming?
About that in a little bit.
Is it counter programming?
No, it's not on the same night. It can't be counter programming. It's only counter programming when it's on the same night.
Anyways, someone's a little fed up about that. Jesus. But
I'm not fed up about it at all.
anyways,
I'm gonna
wow,
return your energy to
wow.
you. Your negative energy
Oh,
that you're
please,
giving
Dan.
off
Please, Dan.
is
Dan.
gonna be returned back to you threefold.
Dan. Dan. Some of us job out, and some of us run the show. I mean,
It's just not the definition of counter
I
programming.
know.
It
I
can't,
know.
it can't be. If it's not on the same night, there's nothing to counter.
Can we get back to the show, please? Can we get back to the show?
It was counter programming when they had a show on the same night and they brought in the freaking Undertaker for that show.
He was in town.
It doesn't matter. He was in town because they were like,
He was on.
let's give you a reason to go to NXT because we're up against AEW. Oh, what else can we do? Let's bring Cody Rhodes in. Like, who else can show up to NXT that night when we're going head to head with our at the time potential competitor? Like,
All
come
right.
on.
Well, let's start
And
talking about the legacy
since
of the belts next. Anyways.
no, since he showed up again this week, we had this conversation back when we had that argument about counter programming. How many times has he been on NXT since then? This last week was maybe his
Twice, I think.
second time.
No, twice.
Right.
No.
Twice since that original appearance.
Yeah.
Right.
So 3 times
this
total.
past week was this past week was his second time since the counter programming.
Yeah, they got to figure something out.
Oh, he'll be showing up every once in a while to NXT. Bullshit. He shows up when they want to make a point.
Yeah, and they do very well. That's why they have storylines. That's why they're the WWE, and they're not wrestling for 1,200 people to a champ. You don't know who the champ is. Back to Battleground, and then we're gonna get to the legacy of the belts because someone's a little fired up today. Took their CLs a little bit too early.
Speaking of which, I do want to see if anything changed about the belts. Keep going.
Oh, they would. The only thing I think that would have changed, they would have had to add the women's North American belt.
I just wanted to see if they removed the Universal belt yet, but they haven't. It's still
yeah, you know they have 0 web developers for that page, Dan. They give 0. I'm just telling you, Endeavor, the UFC website looks like a 9-year-old created it.
Well, they update the page to say that the Universal Champion is Cody Rhodes and he's held it for 66 days. Why can't they update it to remove it completely?
They don't know the code. First match, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Lash Legend, Fallon Haney, JD Parker, and Mitchin, which I thought Mitchin was going to take this one, to be honest with you. I thought this was a way for WWE to be like, I apologize for us sticking you with Anderson and Gallows. Please go win this title. And I believe I texted you, and I may have texted my dad when I was watching this too. I thought it was kind of ballsy to start off with a ladder match with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individuals that don't really have ladder experience. Like, that could have set the tone of the show in a bad way. Like, if,
I think NXT, even though I don't necessarily watch all of their stuff, some of more often than not, what I catch of theirs is their premium live events. I think they're always a little ballsy with their match orders and card orders.
Do you think that comes from above of them trying to push the talent, or do you think that's just Sean? Just Sean saying, no, this is the way I want to do it? Like,
I think it's just being different. It's being a little against them. It also could be, for all we know. I mean, to a degree, there's still a development and exploratory territory in that sense. They could be doing things to see what the reactions are, and you might start to see that more often up on the bigger stages, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Maybe next year's WrestleMania starts off with a ladder match. I don't know. But yeah, I think they're always kind of a little ballsy with some of the stuff they do and the way they order their matches, or like how they decide it. But
Yeah, did you?
I mean, it's a tough one because where do you? I guess where else do you put that match? You know, mainly because when I look at all these matches, I was like, I guess you could have started with the triple threat for the North American Championship, but other than that, I don't think you change the order of the matches. You could maybe flip flop the ladder and the triple threat, and that's about it. But I don't think you want to put that ladder match right before the two single championship matches
No.
because the women's one was a huge thing, and then the men's one was a big deal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I
I
actually would have ended with the women's championship.
which the North American one.
No, no, the Roxanne and Jordan. I would have ended
Oh
with that.
yes, correct. 100%. I thought that's what they were gonna do because they had Jordan. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes back for like a round 2 or something, and she's the headline event. Jordan is, since she basically let it leak out today. She's been shooting all the video footage for WWE 2K25, so that's pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I was kind of taken back with how hard they went in this when was it Lash Legend got tossed outside on the horizontal ladder, and I texted you a body is not supposed to bounce like that, and she hit that, and then she hit the side of the pole in the floor pretty hard. Um, when
Yeah.
when so Ruka was doing like her inverted flip RKO thing off the ladder, that was crazy. I mean, yeah, I thought it was very well, very well. I don't think I caught like any minor issues with it. It did slow down a bit, but it probably was slowing down. It didn't slow down a bit. There was some you could see where they were like building to things purposely, but then again, if it's all their first time with a ladder, that's probably the safest way they felt to do it. But I don't think it really took away from this. I thought it was pretty good. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty good too.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I mean, I thought it went really well. They definitely had some pretty crazy
yeah,
spots. I wondered if Meechin was going to win it too.
yeah. I just thought they were breaking
I get
her away just to give her
to be
something to
honest.
do.
Well, and to be honest, I hadn't really like seen her in a while in general, and I didn't realize like how much she kind of like trimmed down and kind of changed her look a little bit.
She looks a lot better than Gallo than Anderson does in the ring. They look like they had like they like I'm like yeah, we can transition to that because that's the second one on the card. But yeah, the first one was pretty damn good, and to be honest, I'll probably go back and watch it again, like whenever I kind of want to watch a crazy ladder match. But Nathan Frazier and Axum defeated the OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Um, do you think Luke Gallows grew up saying I want to be the poor man's version of Kevin Nash? Just by the way he designs all of his outfits.
No, I think that's just a lot of big guys
That's just a
have their
big guy
own
thing to
outfits
do.
like that.
Okay, all right.
I mean,
Just checking because I was because I was gonna get in touch with Kevin and be like, I think you got some patent issues, so you should probably call your attorneys on. Um,
I mean, I think he's been dressing like that for a long time now.
yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, sure. Um, I don't know. I
Oh my god.
Anderson did have some good spots that he took in this match for sure. It looks like he kept himself in shape. Like he was ready to go. He took some big bumps that I didn't think I would expect him to take from, I guess, what you would call a rookie tag team, even though they are the champs. Um, I I think Gallows has lost it. He's not the big intimidator anymore. He's not the one that hits the hardest in the ring anymore. I mean, as we always say with athletes in general, Father Time is undefeated for a reason, right? Like, and he's had a couple surgery on those knees and everything, and we've heard Nash talk about it too. When that stuff started to go on him, that's when he kind of knew, right? Like, I gotta go get fixed. Like, I gotta, get this all steel, do whatever, blah blah blah, and go from there. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I don't think it showed what Frazier and Axum could do if you put in another good tag team against them, or a great tag team against them. I think
So,
the OC has kind of lost a little bit of its luster. I don't know. What's
well,
your thoughts, Dan?
so what I would say is not knowing any of the background because I don't watch it weekly. I was left a little bit with like, why are they wrestling these guys?
Yeah.
Like I was thinking that, like, and I'm thinking like, wait. And again, I didn't know the story or how it even came about, but I the like smarter wrestling fan in me realizes that this is much more of a give a young team an opportunity to work with a very experienced team. I am a little confused by Gallows and Anderson being in NXT in general,
There's
you know?
nothing. Well, that's the problem, right? Like, what did they do?
Right. And I know like when they first showed up, wasn't it with AJ? Because wasn't AJ there for a couple of matches
AJ
a
showed up
long time ago?
not at NXT. AJ's always been main roster, I believe, but he brought friends.
I thought he went down for a while. Not down, but like I thought he showed up for a while.
I don't remember that. He had an outing in NXT 2.0, but that was it.
I guess that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, he confronted Grayson Waller. I guess I'm
Yeah.
thinking about that. But did he never do a match out of that?
No, but it's funny you brought that up because he always thought that that would be a good idea for like somebody that's worked for multiple companies like himself to go down there to pick up what they do on Raw and SmackDown. So then when he gets up to the main roster, he's he's like, okay, I'm here to stay, and I know what's expected, right? Like of looking into the camera, how to find the camera, like all that stuff. So long story short is the OC has been pissed since they haven't been on a pay-per-view or premium live event since 2019, 2021 or something was the last time they wrestled on a premium live event. Um, they were down in NXT because I think, did they win? They won a few matches to get the shot, and then they've been chasing Frazier and Axiom around. Frazier and Axiom were out signing in a booth somewhere, and Gallows and Anderson just came and attacked them. And then they basically told them, we're not going to leave you alone until we have those titles. So, like, they've been physically chasing Frazier and Axiom. I have very high hopes for Frazier. Yeah,
Weird.
it is very weird. But then
Weird.
again, for how much you probably pay those guys, what do you do with them? Besides have them stay at the performance center and be a coach. Like at this point, you have no storyline to tell.
Well, that's kind of what I mean, though. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure, paid other guys to sit home and do nothing too.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I
but
think,
they've already did that for a year and a half when AJ was out, and they probably think we got to try and recoup this somehow. I think what could help is if Finn eventually defects from Judgment Day, and then you get Judgment Day versus the OC, and it's Finn, AJ, and the OC, and then Anderson's and Gallows is back to being what they do best, is like the guys behind the guys. So like you forget that they're there. I think that could be pretty cool. Um, well, that's why Bullet Club worked, right? You only had what, two or three guys that could hold the title for a company. Everybody else was like the entourage guy, right? Or brought in to beat people up. That's pretty much it. So I think Anderson's
yeah.
and Gallows can get away with that still if somehow they're able to connect with Finn and AJ and do like a smaller version of it here, or who knows with how WWE and Hunter is buying everybody from Japan lately. Maybe they can swing something. But yeah, it was kind of weird. I'm surprised it went 11 minutes and 38 seconds. That's crazy. Um, but yeah, so they retained. Good for them. I'm hoping to see them up on the main roster pretty soon. Even if it's just a touchdown for a bit, I think they're very good tag team, and they're going to be in the future as well. Match 3 was the NXT Underground match. Lola Vice versus Shayna Baszler. Lola won by referee stoppage. There was a few times that Shayna looked like she was knocked out cold even before the stoppage. Like when she took that shot off the side of the Underground match and she kind of went like limp and she just hit the ground or the crowd of the people, like she looked like she was out. I thought she was out at least twice before it. Because my dad called me and asked, is she out? I go, it's a possibility. But
yeah, I'm going to be honest. I kind of tuned out during this a little bit. I had it on, but like it just like does nothing for me.
the Underground thing, it's a hard thing to throw in the middle of a card.
It's just hard for me to like buy into the idea of it when it doesn't have that element of realism.
Yeah, but it's the whole Josh Barnett thing, right? Like that's where it comes from, right? Like, which
Yeah, no, I get that, but like they don't really. I don't know. It just
there were a couple shots that looked pretty. The Underground, this Underground looked better than the Underground that Gabe Stevenson had by 1,000-fold.
well, yeah, but and it was better than most, if not all, Raw Underground stuff when they were doing that. But I mean, I don't know, like Josh Barnett stuff, like they lay it in consistently,
Yeah,
and
yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, it's also scheduled for a different product. But I thought it was a cool thing that they added. And I mean,
yeah,
you would think the Gabe Stevenson thing would have been better because he's has a history of pinning people down against their will. Um, so yeah, but I don't know. I would like to see them incorporate more, like in NXT or like on the big roster if they could. I mean, we did that whole thing with Seth and Riddle were in the pit, right? That's what they called it or something. Remember?
oh yeah, Riddle and yeah, they did
Was
the
it the
pit.
pit? I forget what it's
Um,
called.
I think it was the pit. It was like a
The
cage, but
fight pit.
it
The
had
fight pit.
fight pit. Yeah, I didn't like that either. Actually, I
Yeah,
hated
I
that
thought that
match.
was weird. But yeah, I mean, I'll tune into watch an underground match. I don't think it's gonna sway me either way on this card. I thought it was different, and I like that they're trying to take those risks. Um, if you somehow get Aleister Black back, he would be awesome to see in an underground match, just because he has that background, that Dutch kickboxing. That'd be cool. But match 4, this I I have never seen people tossed as hard as they were tossed in this fourth match on the card. Oh, it was Obi Femi defeating Wesley and Joe Coffey. Wesley returned from back or spine surgery, I think his injury was. And it's safe to say that those doctors did his job correctly. Because holy hell did he get planted on that canvas multiple times. Like that power bomb of him jumping off the top rope and Obi just like ragdolled him. And then he's getting tossed around. It it was crazy. I think they got something big in Obi Femi. No pun intended. But I think that guy could be a star that they've been waiting for a while. I think that guy could be the next like monster if they wanted to. Um, I mean, they had that with Braun before Braun kept getting hurt, which he can't control. But yeah, but Obi really does bring it. So I'm excited to see what he does going forward with NXT. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I liked this match a lot in general. Wesley was the only one I was relatively familiar with,
Yeah,
so no, I like this one a lot.
he took a beating, man. He took a beating in this match, big time. Um, so on to the first championship match, which we both agree should have probably ended the card. Roxanne Perez versus Jordan Grace. Roxanne Perez retaining via pinfall. First off, did you see how Jordan ripped her ear open?
Yeah, with the earring that was stuck in Roxanne's tights or whatever,
Yeah,
or fishnets.
yeah. And now
Yeah,
she's only doing magnetic earrings from now on when she wrestles.
I
Hysterical.
mean, why even
No, I
bring
know,
up
I
that?
know, I know, I know. I know that's the same thing I was thinking when I saw the tweet. But wild. What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. I think Roxanne should have won. I mean,
Jordan
Jordan should
should
have
have won.
won. But other than that, like I thought it was a good match. I thought it was cool. Like the whole moment was cool, right? Um, you just never saw it. Saw you don't never see this with WWE, so it's kind of cool for them to do it. And um, I think they lost for now. It's a lost opportunity in having her win, and then just kind of cross promoting that for a little bit. But whatever. I mean, not sure. Maybe there were maybe they couldn't come to a good agreement on how to do it with TNA, or maybe they just said from the beginning, we don't want her to win, but we want to showcase her for you.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. I mean, she's getting paid by appearance, and if she's going to be in the 2K25 video game, I'm going to take a wild guess and say she's not done with the WWE yet this year. She'll be back for something. Um, and I think it's going to be a couple of times. I don't think it's just going to be like one more time. So they seem to be very, very highly on her. She protects people that she's in the ring with. She could tell a good story. She does a decent promo. She looks the part, right? Like, so it's cool. Yeah, I was all for it. I was hoping her to win just so we could get a prohibited portal 2 belts shirt. I thought that would have been awesome. But after that, Trick Williams versus Ethan Page. Trick Williams defeats Ethan Page. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it was a good match. We kind of went back and forth about this. Like, I guess it makes sense that Ethan wouldn't win it, but it's not over because he's
Nope.
already declared for
Yep.
Tuesday's deal. So, um, I don't think he's going anywhere for a bit, and then eventually I assume he moves up. So, um, I think it was a good match, and I think it was fine the way it ended. It would be weird for Trick to lose it already. You know, it
Yeah.
hasn't been that long, right?
No,
How long has it been?
no, it hasn't been, and I think you need. I think you need this time for Trick to gain this experience, right? Because like if you're this high on him to continue this type of one day he's gonna be the guy upstairs. Like he's gonna be the guy with the big belt, then you gotta go for it, right? Like um
Right.
so yeah, I thought it was good. I one of the reasons I turned into AEW was for Ethan Page. Um I liked what he can do. I like what he does on the mic. Um I'm hoping his time in NXT will help him get a little bit more fluidity with what he does in the ring. I don't think it's terrible, but I just think to clean a little bit of things up, I think NXT's perfect for him right now. So yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see. I'm glad that they're doing this. Um, I had a question for you. What if they bring back Jordan? So you know how like the intersex like wrestling is a big thing on the indies, and Jordan has done it a couple times. What if they bring back Jordan on Tuesday to be in the Royal Rumble for Trick's title?
In a men's thing?
She's done it. She's wrestled some pretty good guys on.
Yeah.
She comes back and says, "I lost Roxanne's title, but I'm gonna take Trick's title." Like,
Yeah, that could be interesting. I don't see
just
that, but
no, I don't see it either.
but that can be part of our
As an
conversation
intergender
later.
match, but yeah, I mean, she wrestled Cardona. She's wrestled Whip Bully Ray, like,
right.
So yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I thought the card was good overall. I would say I liked it. It'll probably be one of the NXT ones that I go back and choose to rewatch again and again. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know what your thoughts are, Dan, but I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, I think that's right.
If you had to guess, what do you think the longest match on the card was?
Well, I already looked,
Oh.
so I wouldn't have guessed the Jordan match, but
right? Yeah.
I would have guessed the ladder or the
I was thinking the ladder, yeah.
Those just tend to be longer. But all these matches, I mean, are pretty close to each
12
other.
minutes, 11, 10 minutes, 12, 13, 12. Yeah, they did well, right? They got in, they told their story, and they got out. So, pretty good.
Right.
So, yeah, that was good. You want to talk about what we think's happening Tuesday? You want to jump to Clash at the Castle? What would you like to do, sir?
Let's just stay on the NXT train and talk about what we think's happening. Or well, it's going to be what we want to happen, right? We're gonna discuss.
Yeah, the TNA guys. If we think the TNA guys, yeah, I'm good for it.
The question you posed to me was, who do you want to see?
Well, the other
surprise.
And prior to that,
or who do you think it'll be? Right?
Yeah, and prior to that, the other question I pose is, what if you're getting ready to do all this crossover because they know TNA is eventually going to need a buyer? WWE just redid the trademark for WCW. TNA becomes the new WCW.
Maybe.
That I don't know either way. That would just be awesome, right? Like,
yeah.
That would just be awesome. I think that would, like, I wouldn't care, like, either way if they kept TNA and they were under WWE, or like they went full WCW. Whatever they want to do, cool, I'm all for it. Bring whatever you want to bring back from it. I just think it's awesome that there's a, like, even if it's a 0.5% chance we get one of this, yeah. But yeah, and real quick, Jordan's already calling out NXT stars to accept open challenge at TNA against all odds. So we're gonna have to wait and see who we see there as well, because that's next. No, that's tomorrow night, I think.
Against all odds is
the 14th, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So.
In Chicago.
Yeah. Ricochet? Prince Puma? Prince Puma's back for Illinois. And well, supposedly Jordan doesn't know who she's gonna face. So should be interesting. But yeah, I thought that, I don't know. I'm guessing you're a fan of the crossover, since we've never seen WWE do anything like this before.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I think as long as they don't overdo it, I think it'll always be a good like general thing.
Yeah, agreed for sure. I think it's great, right? Like, even if this helps TNA get a buyer, right? Like, because I don't know, that whole situation of them firing the guy in charge and what happened, but I don't know if they need a buyer currently, but if it, yeah, I'm all for it. But did you have yours picked out?
Well, so just a question for you on the
Yeah,
rules here.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
only
yeah.
picking people that we know can show, right? Like we had this conversation about Cardona, right? Like
But did you?
can't pick him, we know he's injured, right? Like
But did you
or
see Cardona just
are we
mentioned something about the battle royale the other night?
yeah, but he's a master at keeping himself relevant, right?
Yeah, but he's back working out, so I don't know how far away he is.
I think he's I don't know for sure, but I would be shocked if he's that close. When did he do that?
I think
He
in the
didn't do it.
winter, right? I think in the winter. I think, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, let's talk about it.
No, he had surgery in April.
Oh,
There's no way he.
in April he had a
Yeah,
surgery?
yeah. There's no way he's ready.
Yeah, so let's, yeah, so what do you,
So
yeah.
so that was my question. We're only
I
picking
mean,
people.
obviously, yeah, he can't, right? Like, that's an asterisk. Yes, we would love for him to be there, but it's like B- Barry Bonds' home run record. We know something's up. Like, so that's fine. Yeah, things like that, if you know, um, so be it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, like it can't be Kenny Omega, right? Like that's my point.
Is he on their roster?
AW.
No, I'm talking about TNA's roster. That's what we're talking about. Remember?
I thought we were talking about who could show up for the battle royal at NXT on Tuesday.
Yeah, from TNA's
Well,
roster.
I mean, oh, I thought you meant just in general. I don't know why it has to be somebody from TNA. Why can't it be somebody on the independents?
Yeah, I mean that's fine too. You could. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I wasn't thinking exclusively TNA. I also wasn't necessarily thinking not other WWE people, right? Like they said locker rooms. That could mean Raw or SmackDown,
I hope
right?
it's not the
So,
fucking OC. Jesus Christ.
well, they're technically like in NXT, so
Yeah, I just
um
hope it's not.
it's only 20 people, right? So what we don't know is it a
That's what they
I,
said. 20. Yeah.
they said 20, but what we didn't hear yet, as far as I know, is like, is it a one guy every couple of minutes, or are they going to start with 20 in? My assumption is because they're probably with the surprise of like, it could be other locker rooms. These people aren't going to be like, you ain't going to start with 20 guys in a ring. It's going to
Yeah.
be every minute or 2 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah. 25 people to be exact.
I thought it was 20. I thought Cody said 20.
NXT Trick Williams will learn the number one contender to his title when a 25-man battle royale takes place on NXT. Yeah, I mean, who knows? They could be 20 and they just publish this wrong.
I just it
But
might be that. I could have sworn he said 20. That's all.
so yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts? So I was only thinking TNA just because I've been so giddy on this Jordan Grace crossover that's where my mind went, and I really want them to buy him and turn him into WCW. The 9-year-old me would probably piss his pants if that happened. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts? Who did you have?
So I mean it's been rumored, but I was already thinking that they might bring in Matt Hardy.
Oh yeah, so that's TNA. Yeah, TNA Indie.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's TNA. Before I read a report today, I was actually wondering if they brought in Jeff Hardy. And then I saw a report that his contract is up this week,
Yes,
allegedly.
yes, yes. At the end of this week. Yes.
And if they brought him in as Willow and not as necessarily as Jeff Hardy or as Brother Nero, one of the two, right? And not necessarily on a long term thing, like because I feel like um you know he's probably going to end up with his brother again, so brother Nero character might make sense. Um, but my like super wild card, like kind of weird one that probably wouldn't happen, but I think could just be really cool just for the hell of it, because I think he's cleared and they just aren't doing it yet. Would be CM Punk. I mean, why was he at NXT the other night?
Well, so there's been a lot of stories. He's like a full-time coach there now. He's doing his Ring of Honor duties there when he's not on the road. He's been doing that nonstop. He's always been there working out, and he's been training with Trick a lot. That's been his one like project.
Yeah, I know in the background, but I mean, like he
Yeah,
hasn't
no, he's
since he first returned, he hasn't gone on NXT too much. So like
no, but they've
the
been
little
doing
interaction with Roxanne was like different for me, and I kind of wondered
yeah,
why.
but they've been trying to like cross promote from like the Instagram of like Trick and Punk, like always working out to like NXT. So it's kind of like it's out there as like he's always here, but right, if you tune in Tuesday nights, you're not gonna see Punk. Um, so yeah, yeah,
Right. So that was just kind of a one, but so Jeff Hardy would probably be like the random, like because he's not really in a promotion right now. Um After that, I was trying to think of people that aren't in TNA also, right? Like I don't know that they're going to. I mean, we already know because all three. So Ethan Page already said he's in it. Um, what's his face? Pillman's son said
yeah.
he's in it, and so did oh God, who was the third AEW guy that was there in the backstage segment with Cody? Why am I drawing a blank on who the heck it was? It was Ethan, Pillman's kid, and
Oh, the guy that did 10.
oh yeah, Sean Spears. Thank
Yeah,
you, Sean Spears. So like we already know they're in there. I'm sure there'll be other NXT. Like if it's 20, so it is 25. So you're filling in a lot of spots with
yeah, yeah,
25. It's not like there's going to be like 15 surprise guys from outside the company. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a few guys from SmackDown and Raw chip
yeah,
in there,
yeah,
just for the hell of it. But so Jeff was the one, if it's true that his contract's up. Matt, I mean, it's already been reported. They think Matt's going to be there. Um, I don't know. I mean, could they get it so Dolph goes? That would be kind of cool.
You would have to.
It'd be real nostalgic, but it'd be kind of cool. I mean, he's in TNA, so he's wrestling tomorrow. Actually, him and his brother are teaming up.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know how many people they're going to bring from outside, but I think the intrigue is enough, and they only have to bring in a couple.
yeah. I think 3 to 5, and I think that place goes crazy.
Oh, for sure.
I think it just
But if you bring in,
erupts. But they got to be the right guys, right? Like they got to be the right names for this to work. Like you can't just bring somebody in on the bottom of TNA's roster.
no, you probably bring in somebody bigger, but then like I'm trying to think from like the other rosters, like do you throw in just because he did a program there for a while, do you throw in like a Dominic Mysterio just for the hell of it? I mean,
Yeah, because
it,
he's gonna get all the booze, right? So that
right,
works
and
out
they're
perfectly.
treating it, they're treating it like a Royal Rumble,
Yeah,
so there's always a bunch of surprises, and they could bring somebody back in or like somebody random. Like, my guess would be, I mean, how many guys are even on that roster?
for NXT.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, they have a lot that are in like developmental stages too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Matt Hardy would be one of their bigger ones, and then like if they followed it up somehow with getting Jeff, like that'll just compound the Matt surprise, you know, and could just be interesting how they do that. Um, I mean, this could be part of like a little bit of payback with featuring Jordan. What if a TNA guy comes in and actually wins this battle royal? You know,
That's one of my choices. Yeah, that's
or
there's
if it is it or a guy like Matt, you know, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but if Matt wins tomorrow and he's the TNA champion and then he comes in and like he wins this battle royal but then loses to Trick and now Trick is both company title for a while.
I have a thought like that, but the opposite way. Um, so off the bat, if I could choose, I would bring in Moose. I would bring in Mustafa Ali. I would bring in Brian Myers. I would bring back Eric Young, and I
A
would
lot
just
of guys from TNA.
it's one, two,
It's four.
yeah, and I said between 3 and 5, and I think they get it right. And I think Jeff beats Moose tomorrow. Moose is pissed off, so he takes the open challenge or whatever it is on Tuesday and gives Trick a good showing, but I think Trick retains. I don't think they have Trick drop, but I do think they use this to cross promote both companies pretty damn well.
Yeah, it's interesting because my guess would be, and maybe I'm too naive about this, but
Or
my guess would
Rhino.
be
Rhino still
I know,
around.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Tommy Dreamer.
my guess, uh, eh,
No,
maybe, but that's just like a feel good placement,
so
right?
have you ever heard
Like
of
a legend.
yeah, right? Sheer, Shera.
Who?
Sheer.
Real.
So he wrestles for TNA, but he's been in talks with WWE in the past. And he's technically not. Supposedly, the last that I read on Fightful about him was he's working on a handshake deal right now with TNA. He doesn't have an actual contract. He was on uh, that wrestling show about the promotion that Al Snow took over. That's where he came from because Al Snow found him and taught him and all that stuff. He's a big dude, so like bringing him in would be big. But I think they were talking to him when they were getting ready to do that tour of India that they did the first time.
Yeah.
They were trying to get him with Jinder, but I don't think it worked out. Or I think he was still recovering from injury. Another addition that would be pretty cool. You bring in Speedball and just let him go crazy. That'd be nice. Right? Like, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot you could do, right? Like, you could bring Ludwig down. Maybe have him do a short storyline of trying to chase that title since Gunther's going to be chasing the title. Trying to think. Montez Ford, you could bring him down to give him a shot at a title. He's
Yeah.
he's athletic enough to tell the story for a battle royale. For some reason, I think we're gonna see Kofi and Xavier just because we always do. I don't want to because I think it starts to kill their legacy a bit. I get it, but I just don't like seeing them like in these stage type things like this. I don't know. Like, there's a lot you could do to tell a good story, right? Like,
Yeah.
there and now with the whole TNA thing, like Jordan said, the prohibited portal is now open. Like that's even an avenue that they didn't have before. But just imagine if they did like half TNA versus half NXT. Then all of a sudden at Survivor Series we're getting TNA versus NXT. That'll be awesome. Like, you know what I mean? just things
Yeah.
like that. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's a lot of possibilities, which I'm very like. Not that I'm not excited to tune into NXT every week, but there's just like there's a little bit more of a buzz with this one. Would you say?
Yeah, well, for sure there is. I sit here and I think like, and like I was starting to say, like maybe I'm being too naive about this, but I'm also wondering like what is TNA going to get back? Like, is it a situation where TNA's like, look, Jordan's going to lose, but eventually somebody from our roster has to go over somebody on your roster? Maybe. I don't know if that's like a deal. So I'm trying to, but assuming it might be, just for fairness and stuff to a degree, I'm trying to figure out where that is. And like winning the battle royal, if a TNA guy wins the battle royal, that's a little bit of it, but then loses to Trick, like it's kind of like, you know. Um, I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of like
I
where
think
does TNA get a clean win over a WWE person just to kind of give that person a little bit of a rub, more so with a victory or a decent victory. This is my thought process.
yeah, I honestly think Kofi and Xavier get the shot at the tag titles that they wanted. Um,
Yeah, but that's not. Oh, but not winning them.
yeah, yeah. Like I think something happens to the WWE related tomorrow in Chicago for them. Um, where like TNA gets that one up of, yeah, we've lost at your house, you've lost at our house. And if it does happen, it definitely feels like they're building towards something at War Games. Then if it goes down that way, it just feels like it's happening that way. That they're like, all right, you're 1-1, we're 1-1, blah blah blah. Like you know what I mean? Like let's go back at what we're doing here. Like um, yeah, it's interesting, but I do. Yeah, I mean, and Xavier wants Joe Henry. Is it from?
Oh God, Joe Hendry, yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
because he's just like a viral
yeah,
social media star now.
yeah. His song has been played more than
It's
Taylor Swift in the UK.
it's ridiculous, like how popular he is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Xavier wants a shot at him, so maybe they get it there. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do, right? Like a lot. But like that's the thing. Like this is kind of why I wish I had the stealing cable thing that you do for the TNA pay per view tomorrow. So uh,
Hmm. James.
but yeah, I mean it's interesting, right? But I do think you're right that they're gonna have to at least give TNA something. Um, I do think Jordan's getting paid per appearance for WWE, but I would want to believe that WWE is also, or Endeavor is throwing TNA something their way as well. Um,
By
and
the way, you
baby,
can watch you can watch TNA tomorrow for $9.99 a month. Their pay per view is on their streaming platform.
live, or do you have to wait for it to end?
Nope. Live specials including Against All Odds on June 14th, $9.99 a month.
Nice.
And they do a simulcast of TNA Impact every Thursday. I forget what their TV deal is, but I think you can get it through their streaming package too.
Yeah, I think it's a day behind because I looked into it, but yeah,
This says, I mean, I'm looking at the website right now. It says all exclusive live specials, including Against All Odds.
yeah,
And live is bolded and uppercase.
yeah. Oh no, I was talking about the TV show that you said they did, but yeah, that's cool
Oh,
if it's
I
it's
think
on there.
I think they changed that too because it says it's a simulcast,
Oh,
which
okay,
means it's
that's
yeah.
cool. That's cool. That's very cool of
Probably
them.
part of their new deal. Like they probably
Yeah,
told the company, like their cable deal, like, look, we're doing this.
yeah,
Like,
that's awesome. Like, good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna take something, right? Like, they're gonna have to take something, but it's cool because it's like it's a little bit more of like an interesting suspense of like, all right, what's gonna happen? Like, should I keep checking Twitter for this? Like, is something big gonna go down? Is Punk gonna show up since they're in Chicago? Because Punk, don't forget when Punk was nowhere to be employed, he was at TNA quite a bit because he has some friends there as well. So
It'd be pretty cool to see Punk show up in TNA for something as part of the crossover. It'd be really
yeah,
cool
to
actually
go
to do that.
back again.
Yeah, and just for the hell of it.
Yeah, just show up and
I
talk shit.
I would assume he's going to need some tune-up matches before he goes with Drew,
Yeah,
which you know is going to be a tough match for him.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that's a. But we can top to that now if you want. Clash at the Castle. Um, is that Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, right?
Uh, mm, it is Saturday, yes.
And this is a early start one again.
2 p.m. I think.
Whoa, jeez.
Is that right? 2 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if that's the pre-show or if that's the actual start time. I think that's the actual start time.
Okay. Okay. Well, what do we think, Dan? We think it's gonna be good?
Yeah, I mean it's another one, right? It's 5 matches, so it's not going to be long. It should clock in under 3 hours again, right? Um
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it, get in and get out. They've been very good at that lately, huh?
well, I think, and I just thought of this now, and I think you'll agree with me. This might be, well, we talked about this last time. You had said it too, like that this might be the new format where the monthly ones are short and sweet, right? More of a like a callback to the old in your house pay-per-views because
Yeah,
those were cheaper and shorter. Um and then their big ones are going to be huge, right? So SummerSlam after this year is moving to 2 nights,
yeah, it's
which
wild.
my initial response to you was I don't know how I feel about that.
Agreed.
But to your point that you made back to me when I texted you that was maybe eventually the 4 pillars are going to get the 4 tent poles are going to get 2 nights. So Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series get 2 nights, which would make sense because you have 2 major Royal Rumbles, right? You have men's and women's. You have 4 major title shots at WrestleMania typically, or you have almost all titles, but I
Yeah,
mean, you
yeah,
have potentially 4 main events, right? SummerSlam, it's the same issue. You could have multiple main events. And then Survivor Series is, yeah, you're probably going to have 2 War Games matches. So if they continue to do the War Games trend, which I mean, I hope they do. I love it. And I like that War Games is once a year. I think it's great that it's once a year that way. Um, it would make sense to me if they're eventually going to move to that model where the big 4 events are 2 nights, that the in between months have to be short shows in that sense. Like you can't have 5 hour pay per views and then 2 night WrestleManias, 2 night
right.
SummerSlams, right? So 3 hours or less, especially when you're not paying per show, which I don't know, we've talked about too. Like, do the big 4 move to a you got to pay extra to see them someday? That could be interesting. I like it. I like it. It'll be nice. This one will be done by 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah, and it's a
Like,
pretty damn good card, right?
right. They pack it in. They pack it in, but they do it in a good time frame.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, let's run through this. So obviously, championship matches are going to be Damian versus Drew. Do we think Punk gets involved?
I think so. We haven't seen him in a while in the sense of like he had
Right.
been antagonizing Drew for so long, and then he kind of went dark a little bit, as far as like
Yeah.
on and things like that. So yeah, I think so. Because they might have done a little bit of all right, we're gonna cool that down a little bit, and then you're gonna pop up when we're not really thinking about it as much. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Match 2, we got.
Because it doesn't. This will be the second time now that Drew's going to lose at home for a championship, right?
Yeah, because Solo got involved the first time.
Right. So kind of sucks that keeps happening to him.
Or who knows? Maybe they have him drop.
Well, I wondered if they let Drew win and then Punk comes out or does something after, right? Like I think Punk's probably somehow involved. If not, maybe they just push it to Monday and he immediately gets involved Monday. But my original thought was Drew wins because it's in Scotland and they already screwed him once when they were close to. They weren't in Scotland, right? They were close though to Scotland last time.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think so.
so. You know, plus the Judgment Day is barred right from the ring, so yeah, should be a good match though.
Yeah, for sure. Hard hitting.
Okay.
Gonna be great. Just two big dudes just beating the piss out of each other. Um, match 2 is Bailey versus Piper with Chelsea. Do we think Bailey retains?
Yes,
I think this is
I
a
think.
Piper takeover.
Oh, okay. Well, Piper is she Scottish? No, she's Irish, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
No, she's Scottish.
Okay.
So maybe,
Yeah,
maybe,
I can see it.
maybe you're right.
Um, because then it just gives a different angle for Chelsea to work it with, right? That she's the
Yeah.
reason that Piper got the title, so then technically it's Chelsea's title, right? And then Cardona can go on Twitter and say, "I am 1/3 of the WWE Women's Champion," and that's just a belt he can throw to his collection, right? Uh,
Yeah.
After that single match for the IC title, Sammy versus Chad. Chad has to
Chad.
take. Yeah, Chad has to take this. Do you think? Do you think it's because the Creed brothers get involved? Because I don't think Otis and Tazawa and Dupree do anything for Chad. I think we're right here is where they kind of split from Chad.
Um. Yeah, I think this is where they split from Chad. I wondered if Sammy wins because of um Chad getting screwed over since they've been playing up this like Chad is treating them really crappy lately. Um I wondered if that was their way out and then Chad ends up going into a program with those guys for a while, but my gut tells me he's winning the title,
Yeah, good.
right?
Yeah. We have Cody versus AJ in an I Quit match.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not like I think it'll be fine, but I'm not like overly like excited for this match.
No, Cody's draw has been down, right?
I mean, he needs, I don't know, he needs like a Roman or a Rock back.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if this solely falls on Cody. I just don't think there's anybody there. Like I think that's the problem. Like I just don't think they have anybody there. So, I'm gonna say Mama Rhodes gets involved in some way because she was already taking a picture with Cody on the plane. So I'm sure AJ will come over and yell something in her face or do whatever. And then triple threat for the tag team women's titles. Bianca and Jade versus Elba Fire and Isla Dawn and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark.
I mean, nice.
this triple threat scares me because Jade and Bianca don't have to lose clean.
Yeah, I still think they win.
Do you uh do you think they win like dominantly? Or do you think it's like they
No, I think it's pretty clean. I mean, I think it's pretty clean.
yeah, I want to go with you. I just get afraid cuz it's a triple threat. So obviously we all know if we've been watching wrestling for a while that an easier way to get a champion to drop a title clean is a triple threat because then again they've never truly been beat, correct? So that's the whole thing. Um, but so yeah, yeah. I mean, should be a good card, quick card, under 3 hours.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, it's should be good. I'm trying to think what else we want. I think we touched base on everything we want to touch base on tonight. Um,
I think so too.
we went through it pretty good. So yeah, any last thoughts on Daniel?
No, other than, it's funny, NXT has started to capture me a little bit, right? And drawn me in, and AEW has just continued to push me away. And so far, MJF has not brought me back, which is sad to say because I thought he would bring me back, but not yet.
Yeah,
Not
it's
yet.
tough, right?
I'm waiting for something more intriguing to watch MJF. I more and more was like really bought into the idea of him going to WWE, so I'm a little disappointed. But
Yeah,
it's all right. Maybe
yeah.
someday.
He's gonna have to make that jump, right? Like,
He will. He will eventually.
yeah, he's gonna have to make that jump. So, yeah.
No, so yeah, I'm becoming more and more of an NXT fan. So
Well, welcome. I've only been trying to get you to do it.
I would just watch it here and there. I only have so many hours in my week to dedicate that I want to dedicate to wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling content to take in.
Yeah. Well, and especially when all the indie stuff hits Twitter, right? Like, then it's just an overload.
Well, and that I count that, right? Like
Yeah.
scrolling through
Yeah.
social media and digging into what I'm seeing there and then watching through there is just more time into it. So like, I'm pretty much always watching Raw or SmackDown, and then, I'm not watching Dynamite anymore. I'm never watching Collision, right? Like, I'm checking in on Dynamite if there's something intriguing, but there just hasn't been anything intriguing in a long time. So
And I don't think there's gonna be for a bit.
no, probably not. So it does leave a little room for NXT to creep in because they've got intriguing stuff going. I mean, I'll watch anything that's got intriguing stuff going on. I kind of want to watch TNA tomorrow too, a little bit, like check in on it and see what's going on. It
Yeah.
would be fun to see, like, there is intrigue there with the open challenge. Like, you're right. What if it is
Oh
somebody
yeah.
from
Oh
WWE?
yeah.
And yeah, the Matt and Moose thing, the broken Matt character has always been intriguing in general. I was not really like in on it when he first did it.
Yeah, it's not a favorite thing of mine, but like it can be done interestingly, like right, like
Yeah.
under the right scenario, the right storyline. Okay, let's see what you got. When they came back at WrestleMania, he was broken, Matt, right?
Well,
The tag team,
yes and no. Yes and no, right? Like
he
he
was the
was dressed like
character.
yeah, he was dressed like a Hardy Boy, but he was doing the mannerisms of Broken Matt. But remember after that there was a huge battle because TNA was trying to say they owned the gimmick and
Yeah,
like he couldn't use it. So then he wasn't broken. Remember, for a while he was woken.
yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
in WWE, and it just didn't have the same
Yeah, effect to it. Yeah,
effect. And then he brought it to AEW for a little bit, and like
yeah,
he could do it in AEW the way he did it in TNA, but it was almost like it just like it had run its course, I think. So um I haven't seen, other than a few clips here and there, I haven't really seen how it's working, but I know tonight they were doing another like Hardy compound thing. So I don't know if Senor Benjamin's going to be a part of it or not, but that kind of stuff was always funny.
Yeah, it should be interesting. It's gonna be hell of a good show. Um, I mean, there's so many possibilities for everything now between these two companies, right? So like the intrigue, if we're saying what companies are hitting on all cylinders just based on the opportunities that's available with them right now, you have to say TNA has jumped over AEW. You have to say it. There's no other you can't defend anything that AEW's been doing with the doors that TNA has been able to open with WWE. As long as they don't oversaturate it, like you said.
I think that's right.
Like you just have to, right? Because TNA is basically getting a global audience for doing less than half of the work. They don't have to put on the shows, right? Like, so yeah, it's crazy, man. It's awesome. I'm glad Vince is out of power because we would have never seen this with Vince in power. So, yeah.
No, probably not.
So I think that's it. That's season 2, episode 2. We'll be back next week. Talk about everything wrestling again. Watch Dan explode again. As always, like, comment, subscribe.
Well, exploding is all your fault. So
I know I do it on purpose. It's fine though, sweetie. Like,
it's good.
comment, subscribe.
It's good for ratings.
Yeah, all 7 of the people that tune into us. We're doing a good job at marketing.
Who are mostly related to us.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, okay. You have to throw that out there, Dan. Now we look like stooges. Anyways, adios, people. See you later.
Get wild.